G'day guys, and welcome back to another episode of the Caravan build series. In this episode we beef up Sonny's suspension, we add bigger wheels and tyres, electric brakes, shock absorbers and an off-road hitch. We also make a new longer extended drawbar, so stay tuned and we really hope you enjoy this one. We purchased the 1600 kilo off-road trailer kit from Huntsman Products. I've previously built a box trailer and bought a kit off these guys and was really happy with the quality, so went back again for Sonny, and this kit comes with everything. So you specify the axle measurement and then they make it to order. It comes with your off-road leaf springs with the rebound dampers, all your hangers and high tensile bolts, shackles, grease nipples, handbrake cable. It comes with your off-road hitch and handbrake. Absolutely everything, the jockey wheel and the corner steadies as well. So the van now has 4 new stabiliser legs, never had any on the front, so it's good to have 2 on the front now. So we welded it to a piece of 100 by 50 by 3mm RHS and welded that to the chassis. So we did that on the front, and in the back we just cut the old ones off and welded them in place of the old ones. Now the wheel's actually off the ground, so it's holding the weight of the van good. Not that the van's very heavy, but we're going to go ahead and cut off the old leaf springs now. We're going to weld down some 40 by 40 RHS to the chassis and weld the new hangers and stuff to it. And they're our new leaf springs. They're the off-road leaf springs from Huntsman Products, and we've got all our trailer kit from them guys. So they got the rebound damper on them, and we've also got some shock absorbers to go on as well. And the axle's outside. We got a 50mm square axle as opposed to the, I think that's a 40 or 45mm axle there, and they're 45mm wide leaf springs. The new ones are 60mm, so should be a bit stronger this time. Just watch yourself. Hangers are welded on to the 40 by 40. Dad did a pretty handy job welding them on. Oh, it's a bit hard to see from there. Come around this side. It all looks really good. We've just, Dad's just sort of centered that, and we're just drilling the hole in the axle for that bolt in the bottom of the springs there to locate. I've gone under the van and flat wheeled all underneath, got it nice and flat. We cut the old hangers off, so we're just getting this set up now. We'll mount the axle. That's the old one, so you can just see the difference. So the original ones I think were 45mm wide, and I think it's a 40mm axle. I've got to remeasure that, 40 or 45, I can't remember off the top of my head. And you can just see how much beefier these new ones are from Huntsman. So they got the rebound damper, hangers are much more solid, and we've got a 50mm axle, so yeah, a bit heavier as well. So it's rated, it's a 1600 kilo kit, so there's still 7 leaves in the pack, same as the standard, but this should just be a lot stronger. So this morning, Dad and I wheeled the new axle springs and hubs and everything underneath the van, and we got it clamped up in place. We've taken a few measurements from the center of the hub to the front of the van on both sides, and it's the same. So we're going to stitch weld that 40 by 40 to the chassis either side, and then we'll just cut this excess off. We'll probably cut it back here somewhere once we've stitched that bit there on. But it's so much beefier, it's a lot heavier compared to the old one, but it looks really good. I'm keen to put the wheels on and see how it all looks. It's going to lift the van up a fair bit more, so that'll be good, give us a bit more clearance.
Holy shit.
So we've cut the old drawbar off. We had to use the oxy to get some of it off, and then we ground the rest of it off, cleaned it all up under there. We're just setting up our new drawbar. So the new one, we've gone with 100 by 50 by 3mm RHS, welded to some 10mm plate. We've just sort of tried to set it all up and tacked it all in place there. And then once that's all welded up, we've got the new poly block coupling to go on. And weld our safety chains, bolt the handbrake on, then we can weld her up underneath. So because our chassis had a fair bit of surface rust, I bought this CRC rust converter. So I've done the back half already and I've wiped the floor clean. I'm going to paint some bitumen paint on there. So I'm just going ahead now. I'm flat wheeling off the heavy scaly sort of surface rust. So I still got to do the front half of the van, and then I can rust convert it like I have on the back, and then that way I can paint it. So we'll show you that process now. So we've finished rust converting and painting underneath the van, and we painted it in a satin black. So we did a couple of coats of rust converter and then a couple of coats of satin black. Then we also painted the drawbar silver. So the floor does have like a waterproof coating on there, but we're going to go over it with a bitumen paint. So I'll show you which one we're using here. We got it from Bunnings. It's the Crommelin Black Seal heavy duty bitumen waterproofing membrane. So it says to do 1 coat with 5 parts water, 1 part bitumen, just as a primer. So we're going to do that, and then we'll probably give it, I think it says 2 coats, I can't quite remember now. Yeah, 2 coats. Yeah, so just to give it that extra protection underneath. So these are our coats from the other day. Elle did the back of the van, I did the front of the van. So it says to do each coat, or as when you do the next coat, do it 90 degrees to the first one. So we went up and down on the first one, so we're going to go side to side on this second coat. So we like to put it on nice and thick just to seal up all of those little holes and things. So just lap her in there, thicker the better. Little tip, don't get on your skin because
it doesn't come off.
Scrubbing and scrubbing and scrubbing,
yeah.
and it does not come off.
Yeah,
so we're wearing longer clothes today.
Yes.
and gloves. So it's pretty thick.
Very thick.
Do you reckon that's enough?
Yep. The first coat we did was a
5 parts water
Yeah.
to 1 part bitumen, just as a primer. So we rolled that on, and then now we're just using a brush just to paint on,
and
just as a membrane now. So
another tip,
2 coats.
don't expect to use your brush afterwards. Make sure you just get cheap ones, hey, and then
chuck them when you're
chuck
done.
them. There's no such thing as trying to clean them up.
Unless you do it straight away, but yeah, it is water based, but still it's pretty thick.
It's very, like, your brush just goes super hard. So another tip.
So we just brought the van for a drive over to the weighbridge, and all went well. We weighed the van. We also wanted to get the tear weight of the van now after we've renovated it to see what it weighs, and also we have to mount our 2 70-litre water tanks. So the rule of thumb is, I think 10% of your van weight should be your ball weight. So for example, if the van's 1,500 kilos, your ball weight should be around that 150 mark, just as a ballpark figure. So before we mount our water tanks, we need to work out the tear weight of the van so we know exactly where to add the water tanks to keep that 10%. So we'll read you the following weights. The ball weight of the van is 120 and the tear weight is 1.22. So we do have a couple of things in there, but our GVM of the van on our rego paper is 1680, which I don't know if that's too high. It seems high for
An
old van, but we're
take it.
gonna take it because it gives us a bit of wriggle room. So even once we add our 2 70-litre water tanks and they're full, an extra 140 kilos isn't going to tip us over legally. So we're all good. But we're just going to take the van home now and back it up the driveway.
Woohoo.
So we're just trying to work out where the best place is to mount our 2 water tanks. So to work that out, I'll just see if I can flip you around. One sec. I've borrowed a set of these ball weight scales from a colleague. So since weighing the van, I've added my toolbox off the trailer and a spare to the front, as we've got nowhere else to mount the spare. So we've added a bit of ball weight to it. So I think when we weighed it at the weighbridge, the ball weight said it was 1.2. The driveway is running slightly downhill, so it's probably going to read slightly higher than what it actually is. But at the moment, it's sitting at 180. So it is a bit higher. The van, fully loaded, we estimate with 2 water tanks full, and everything in it is going to weigh around about just under 1.5, I think. So 180 kilos ball weight. It's probably just a tad over that 10% mark, but yeah, we don't really have anywhere else to mount the spare at the back. I don't want to go making a rear bar. It's just going to add more weight to it, so we're going to have to leave it there. So what we're going to do is, I reckon, mount a water tank just behind the axle, and then another one, the other second one, just in front of the axle. So it's sort of as centered as we can. And if we only have to fill 1 water tank, we may fill the back one just to level out that bore weight, but we'll see when we do it. But I think that's the only way we can kind of go about that. Anyways, we might have a crack at seeing where these water tanks are going to go. So these are our 2 70-litre K-Mech water tanks that we got off Outback Equipment, I think it is. A little bit disappointed. I bought these brackets for the water tank a while ago, and I only have just painted them up, like probably a couple months after I've bought them, and went to mount them up. This one here fits okay. I also made up these galvanised shields for the front just to stop any stones from hitting the tank. I didn't worry about the back because that's obviously at the back, so the rocks are more prone to hit the front. But I'm really disappointed because this one bracket is like 20 mil too short, but they come in a pack of 2, so those 2 and those 2 brackets. So Outback Equipment, a little bit disappointed there. I probably won't be able to send it back either because I'm not going to get time. So I'm going to have to take this into work, cut it in half, and then add 20 mil to it, weld it back up again, which is just slowing down progress. But anyways, we might just try and get 1 tank mounted up today. I've also bought some adhesive rubber I'll put under that, between that and the shield, and then a little bit on top where it rubs on the chassis, just to sort of cushion it a bit. But yeah, let's get that done. G'day, so we're back at Dad's place again. We've towed the van home. We're just mounting these shocks up. I'll flip you around and show you what we're doing. So I bought these Alco shock absorber kit. So it comes with this bottom bracket which bolts to the fish plates and the U-bolts, and then there's a top mount that you weld on. So I'll just show you. So that's the bottom mount there. It just bolts onto your U-bolts, which is nice and easy. And then the top mount is this one here. So we're just got to work out, I think it's a 15-degree angle. So we're going to work that out wherever that is, probably up here somewhere, and then we're going to weld this top shock mount on. That way we'll have off-road leaf springs with the rebound damper plus the shocks. So that should help, especially being an old van, just take a lot of that oscillation out of the springs and a bit of the vibration. So it should help it ride a bit smoother, stop a bit of the bounce and the side-to-side constant sway after a bump. So yeah, it'll look something like that. So I've just set that sliding bevel gauge to 15 degrees, and that's about there. So I went off the floor, nice flat surface, and came back down, and that is about 15 degrees. So we'll weld that on there. So because we've added electric brakes to Sunny, we had to put an electric brake controller either in the ute or on the van. So the one we went with was the elect brakes one. Unlike your normal electric brake controllers that get mounted inside the ute, this one here mounts to the van, and what it does is it's got this little lead that runs across and goes into a piggyback harness. So we had to lengthen this one only because we extended the drawbar, it was a bit short. So basically we had a 7-pin plug. The standard one was a 7-pin, and what we've got on the back of the ute. So we just bought a 7-pin to 7-pin harness, or adapter, sorry. So it plugs into your original harness, and then it's got its own one then that runs off and plugs into the ute. So it picks up your power from the ute, which runs the electric brake controller. And then inside the ute, you have an app on the phone, which I'll show you shortly. But I thought I'll just quickly explain how I hooked up the electric brakes. So Sunny only had cable brakes originally. So what we did was we opened up the trailer plug, and I think it is the 3rd pin from the end there. I'll overlay a photo anyways. You'll see the one that's got nothing there. That's the one we added I think I ran some 15 amp cabling from that all the way through the drawbar, and I'll just show you what I did under here. So once we come out of the drawbar, through the drawbar, out of the original sort of harness from the trailer plug, I then ran this 15 amp cabling through here, around up along the chassis rail, and then I came down. Everything's a bit dirty at the moment, but yeah, came down, and out of the electric brake hub you have your 2 wires. So either you can go into either one of these, there's no positive or negative. So I ran a butt connector on both of these and went from positive around the back. I'll try and squeeze under the axle here. There we go. So sorry, this is probably a better view. So yeah, red positive come from the trailer plug down from here, butt connector across here, same as the negative. So butt connector in the negative, and they both run across the back of the axle. And then the red, like the positive, just terminates at this one. So you just butt connect into that, and then the negative goes from there and then just earths onto the chassis. So, and that's it. And then to test it, just put your foot on the brake with the app on, and you'll hear a buzz, like a hum sort of buzz sound from the magnets to know that they're working. But I'll show you in a minute what the app looks like and how the electric brakes actually work. Okay, so I'm just inside the ute now, and I'm just going to show you how this electric brake app works. So if we open up the electric brake app, you'll see there it says looking for device. It's because the headlights are off, so you do have to turn the headlights on, and that picks up the power from the ute and powers the electric brake controller on the van. So you see now it's connected straight away, and the blue tick means it's all working. So if I put my foot on the brake pedal, you'll see there it shows you that the brakes are working. And then as you're driving, if for an emergency you need to put the override brakes on, if you just hit that blue tick, it'll just lock the brakes on. I think the actual controller you can buy, it's about 180 bucks, and that, like the remote, and that sits in the ute. It's heaps better than the app apparently, and pretty much everyone I've spoken to after they put this in, they straight away go and buy the remote. But for us, the app, sorry, has worked fine. So you got 5 different programs you can program, and they're really easy, and they've got awesome adjustments. So from 0 all the way through to 100 is your brake response adjustment. So there's so much adjustability, and you can really dial it into exactly what you want to use it for. It's an awesome app, and it's so easy to use. It's plug and play, the electric brake controller, and yeah, super easy. Here's a quick look at how the suspension performs. So this road is the corrugated road out to James Price Point in Broome, Western Australia on our travels. I aired the tyres down to about 22 PSI. I probably could have gone down to 18, but it handled it awesome, and nothing sort of rattled loose or broke in the van. So yeah, super stoked. That brings us to the end of this episode. Thank you so much for tuning in, guys. We really hope you've enjoyed this one. I'd like to say a big thanks to my dad for helping us out with this part of the project. We really appreciate it. So guys, if you've liked this episode, please don't forget to give it a like and subscribe and hit the bell icon for future videos. Thanks heaps, guys. I'll catch you in the next one.